Everyone in our world, no matter where he lives, he has first name, surname, last name, and father's name. They may be in different order, yes. Where is this kind of structure coming from? What are these sources? I don't know. In fact, a last name is not a natural thing, it's artificial. A person must have his own name and the name of his father. That's all. And usually his craft, his position, or reference to his address. For instance, Joe, son of Shmo, from N village. And that's all. And also it may be proper to add, for instance, a lumberjack, let's say. So it'll be lumberjack, Joe, son of Shmo, from N village. That's it. It's perfectly clear. Can't get wrong with it. It was this way always with every ethnic group. Such maximally expanded identification of a person. And the fact that things like last names appear. I don't know much about it. I've never researched it. There are probably many opinions on that. It seems to me, though, that it comes from the relations to tribes or clans. Those nationalities that we think to be one single group in the past were separate tribes, like Greeks, Italians, Romans, especially Germans. Their tribes united only a few hundreds years ago. Before that, there were German tribes and so on. The same in Russia. There were many different tribes, and they gradually gathered like in a whirlpool. They mixed and mixed and mixed. And then the last name also indicates relation to a particular herd. For example, Abramson. For sure, there was some Abram in the past, although it may sound native English or Russian, for instance, name, and that indicates accessory to a herd or family. Who are you? I'm a son of Abram, and so on, like Abramson. It's just a reference to something, and so on. It's a clear reference. And it's the same with everybody. How else would you identify a person otherwise? We see that either by craft, a person is identified, as I mentioned already. How else? We just need a reference to a certain persona. If it's in a Kabbalah, then a person can also be referred by the highest spiritual degree he reached. That's the most important for us. What difference does it make how he was called in this world? But if he was a son of someone special and he received spiritual inheritance from him, then, of course, that fact is important for us. And when a person reaches a certain degree of wisdom, he is referred by Joe, student of such. Not by his father anymore, but by his school he is representing. And same thing is practiced among scientists. I know in Russia, for example, School of Artists, School of Scientists, School of Craftsmen, School of Directors, Producers, etc. In politics, the same thing. For instance, Obama was, for many years, learned from Dzerzhinsky. That's his school, School of Dzerzhinsky. But why such factor exists in the nature, like identification of a person in the system? Because we are structured, designed that way. It's the same way among animals, although they identify each other by genes. smell, and so on. They have precise ways to recognize their herd from another. For instance, a dog doesn't need other dog's passport. You know, it sniffs the other dog from each side, which gives her a clear understanding of the other dog, what he is, his origins, what type of dog, anything. They don't need more data than that. But are there spiritual roots of that, of human names? For instance, there are object names in Kabbalah, and there are human names. We say, for instance, the origin in our world. For instance, when we evaluate a person by his social status, his intellectual degree, or his belonging to a certain manufacturing, maybe, his profession, then his nationality, and so on. And then in relation to his herd, so that way we give him names. If it's some significant person, then he will have all kinds of prefixes: professor, doctor, director, nominee, and more and more and more. All kinds of things. All that we attach to his name to highlight the essence of a person. Factually, it's no more than a protein mass, but what it's worth in our world. Do Kabbalists have non-verbal ways of identifying each other? Non-verbal? What does it mean, non-verbal? If I'm to say something about my teacher, that he is the first student of his father, Bale Sulam, that practically means I've said everything about him for myself. I don't need more than that. The same way, if I'm to say something about myself, who I am, I'm a student of Rubash, his disciple. He is, in fact, his shadow, sort of. And that's enough for me. If somebody studies Kabbalah, he understands who I am from knowing that, and from that it's clear for him what he can expect from me, what he can ask from me, my essence in general. My achievement, it may not clarify my achievements, though. If I'm his student, that doesn't say anything about which degree I reached, at which level to be his disciple. But by what I teach, you can say that I'm on that level. With my students, I don't research the degree at which I am personally. I only consider the level which I can teach to them. It's like a teacher that has highest degree in something, and he's very knowledgeable, but he comes to a class and teaches there for many years, gradually revealing his wisdom at the level of his students, so they could understand, digest, and pull themselves up to the level.